around the world reaching the minimum $25 and getting paid. About a month ago, we brought a new functionality for the regions outside US, Australia, UK, and Canada, which is PayPal payouts. So you are able to get paid at the beginning of every month, no matter where you are in the world, if you have a PayPal account as well. Okay. All right. Let's see some of these other questions that I might see here. All right.
You're welcome for you're welcome for that question. I'm here. I'm new to Fanbase, and I'm from Nigeria. What are some limitations I might face using Fanbase from my country?
I have some technical limitations.
There's some technical limitations, but
so we don't suppress any functionality for any region, which is great. So you should be able to monetize throughout the entire Fanbase ecosystem. In fact, I'm gonna throw a release that is coming up next week. We are releasing Love on Chatroom, the same chat room that you are participating right now in audio. You're gonna be able to make money out of that. So when Isaac said that we actually truly value content and we believe that you saying something in a chat room is content, that's an example. Now, going back to your question, one of the things we're working, and this is an every sprint, everyday work, we're working on, we know that in other countries, bandwidth is not the same as we have here in the US. So a lot of times as we deploy new releases, we also are doing performance improvements on making sure that we're not consuming a lot of data from your phones. We are as light and nimble as possible as well on the app, right? So if you have any limitations, it might be based on one of the verticals that you might be using, depending on your bandwidth and the infrastructure that you have. We are working and we have that in mind. That's something that every single social media platform went through. So I want you to know that we don't limit any functionality from any place in the world. The limitations might be technical based on the infrastructure and bandwidth, but we're still working on make that experience better. Okay? All right.
100%.
Let me see. Oh, the iPhone versus Android discussion is starting again. All right.
Yeah, we want iPhone, Android, and the web all on Fanbase. Everybody can exist harmoniously and have fun communicating with each other. Whether you're team iPhone or team Android, you're absolutely on here. I see Rosie asked a question, but I think I answered her question before. Rosie has asked this question about supporting Palestine or Israel. And the way that I want to answer this question is that I think, again, when it comes to advertising, these platforms have to decide what content they limit based on what advertisers decide. The people that control Facebook and Instagram are not you. And Facebook doesn't even control Meta and Instagram. The advertisers and the shareholders control that company because they can easily sell their shares or they can easily stop advertising with that platform, right? And that's how they make their money. So when it comes to conversations that can be a little bit or a lot controversial when it comes to politics, religion, things like that, I think right now you have an opportunity to express your opinion about what you want to express your opinion about on the platform without us having to worry about losing advertising dollars because you want to say what you want to say. Now, there are terms and conditions, there are rules, there are things that we want to make sure that we provide a safe environment where people feel safe having conversations. But one of the things about audio is a great place for people to learn from one another, have these tough conversations. And that's what the engagement is about. I don't want to segregate the app. I don't want to put one group of people on one side of the app in an echo chamber versus another side of the people. I think those conversations that people have that are tough conversations, dialogue is how you create progress. And through those conversations over and over again, you can find middle ground. That's what we don't do in this country. That's what we don't do is have these conversations to really, formulate and get our ideas and get our points across without going to opposite corners and being that. So I want you to understand that Fanbase is a place where you can share your opinion about what you feel about different subjects and have conversations. And there's a way to do that and create dialogue.
Yeah. So we have a lot to share, but I wanna answer a question with a statement, and then because we have a lot of new users, so I want to go through some of the basics as well. So I do want to say that when we thought about the BU without limits, we were thinking about the best way to represent who we were here in Fanbase, every single person, from someone that lays code, from someone that writes an email, and the BU without limits spans across everything that we do and we say here in Fanbase, right? So everything that we do, we always try to say, okay, in other platforms, this is how they're limiting for this reason. Is there a reason to have that limit? No. How can we do it without limits, right? So let's talk a little bit about ways that you can make money in Fanbase. I'm gonna see if you can do it. In less than 2 minutes, I'm a new user. I come to Fanbase. I want to make money. I'm not used to making money anywhere, because I just gotta be a big shot to make money other places. How can I make money through the different content verticals that Fanbase has?
Well, I mean, I think one of the first ways that you can always make money is posting and sharing your content just in the feed. I mean, here's the thing that I want you guys to understand is, please understand that human beings are transactional people. They're generous. They're generous people. We support content creators, whether you know it or not. So I can scroll Fanbase. You can scroll the feed on Fanbase. Look up under people's photos and videos and see that they're getting 100 loves, 10 loves, 1,000 loves for those photos and videos. That's money that they would have never made on Instagram by posting the exact same content on Fanbase that they're posting on other platforms, right? So they're making money doing that. Also, engaging in conversations and audio, I think, is a great way to monetize. When you can sit on stage, every person that's in an audio room that's actually on a stage has the ability to receive revenue, including me. And even in this audio room, I have 104 loves. So I've made 50 cents from this conversation that has 63 people in it. Actually, I just made another 100 loves. So at that quick, I've made money just by talking. So imagine being able to have, make money from your content and from your audio conversations, from your comments, and then now coming next week from the chat rooms. Because now everybody that's in the chat room is going to have a little heart icon next to their name. And if you say something in the chat that people really like, they can tip you for that content. Imagine that. So you don't even have to be on stage to make money in audio coming up next week. So imagine that, being able to chat in the chat room and audio and actually get love. And remember, there's no limit to the amount of love that someone can give you. Somebody wants to give you $100 for one comment that you said, they can do that. They can tap that heart icon or hold down on big love and activate the menu where you can give 100, 500, or 1,000 love. So again, there's no limit, and that adds up. Again, I say a penny doesn't seem like a lot of money till a million people give you one.
Well, it's a great way that you can make money, but you can make money in every single vertical of Fanbase.
Yeah, so the migration tool is really good. That's another original. I think we call these Fanbase original ideas and original concepts that don't exist. That's another original idea we had at Fanbase. What's important about that is you're taking all the content that these other platforms have been leveraging to make advertising dollars off, and you put it in a place where you can make the money. Not them running ads in between your photos and videos for that exact same content. Few steps inside of content and imports it over to Fanbase, right? So now all this content that you've had on social media for the last 10 years or so is instantly in a place where people can tip you for it. They never did that on these other platforms, allow you to be able to have people to tip you instantly for the content that you can make. And I guarantee you, once you start doing that and you tap in and engage with the community, you'll start to make money off that content. And I see people, that's what I'm saying. I scroll the feed all the time with people that I follow, and I'm looking at the feed and I'm like, wow, they got like 1,000 loves for this. Like they made $5 off this one photo, just one photo that they made. And this is an emerging startup that is growing almost 700,000 users. So when I think about Fanbase having 700,000 users, there's 7 million users, there's 70 million users, the amount of money that users are going to be generate inside this community ecosystem where people are being transactional, and that's going to be the more of the behavior of the younger generation of people that also come into the platform. That's just the way that it changes. It's like, I think people understand, like, subscriptions aren't even called subscriptions to younger kids. They're called subs, right? We call them subscriptions. Anybody under the age of 30 says subs. How many subs you got? Oh, I got 100 subs. I got. That's going to be the vernacular of what people talk about on Fanbase. Yo, I'm on Fanbase. I got 157 subs. I got 2,000 subs. That's the vernacular. That's the language and the type of content. I mean, conversation energy is going to be in the future. So you.
Okay, how can I go fuck with this, right? Because a lot of people that know the industry, they hear $17 million and they know what we're trying to achieve. And they're like,
Right.
wow, is that going to be enough, man, for
Right.
me? Because, I mean, all these companies, they get hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So I want us to talk a little bit about two things. Number one is some of the things the efforts that we're going to be doing with this money and how that's going to grow the company. And also want us to talk about some of the challenges that we have.
Well,
right?
okay. Well, I want to tap in. I want to talk about this because I think this is important when it comes to raising capital. And this isn't a shot at any particular company or VC or a platform, but a lot of times when these platforms raise capital, they're wasteful with the capital. They don't spend the money in the way that there's ways to spend money, right? And so sometimes these platforms raise $35, $40 million and spend the money and the team out of business. And that's because of paying these massive salaries, these enormous amount of salaries. I think they're spending money on huge office spaces in San Francisco, and they're just putting money in places that don't really benefit the company. For me, I understand that this is a grassroots startup from the ground up, so we can't just go around throwing money around in the wrong places, especially when we're raising capital from you. When the lifeblood of this company is the investors that you guys put your money into that company. So for one of those reasons, for that very reason, again, and Ramiro, they often talk about whether this is a good idea or not, but I've never taken a salary working at Fanbase. So then if you've ever invested money in Fanbase, I've never spent your money on anything for myself. I don't take a salary, but I think that whatever I could pay myself in the salary of Fanbase could be used to help development or marketing or advertising. And so for that very reason, I understand that the time will come to get paid in ways that matter, but I'm very, very specific. And then secondly, sitting to my right is probably one of the most fiscally responsible human beings I've ever seen. But it's shown me that it matters. He's shown me that $500 matters. $1,000 matters, even over the course of a time. So even something that we're paying month over month, once you add that money up, those are things that we could use to put in towards advertising or development and marketing that could change the trajectory of the app. And so for that very reason, I listen to the COO and the CFO of the company saying, yo, is this something that we can spend money on? Does it make sense that we have the ability to do that? And so when we're raising this capital, understand that we are spending this money and with two intentions in mind: to either scale the company with users or generate more revenue. That's it. That's front of mind. Revenue and user growth. And so I think that's important that people understand that this isn't anything where people are running around just throwing money at the wall and seeing if it sticks. Because a lot of companies have come and gone when they have raised way more money than Fanbase, and we're still here. So that says something about the way that we're running the company and the way that the company's being run. So I just want to highlight that there's fiscally responsible individuals out here that are making sacrifices and making good decisions with the investment dollars that we receive from you.
Definitely. So I will talk about some of the efforts that were specific efforts that we're intending to do with this money. And then I do want to talk about the challenges because I think there's always greatness in transparency. Mm-hmm. So we have a 3-year plan. And the idea for this is to, obviously, it's going to be very product intensive. We truly believe that product should speak for itself. But we also, one of the things that I'm proud of that we've been building for the past year and a half is have a set of insights that not only helps us drive business decisions, but allows us to give those insights to our creators so they can make better decisions. The creator makes better decisions. Fanbase does well as well, right? So all of these efforts are driven with some insights and data in mind. They're not just like we woke up and we're like, okay, we would like to have this functionality, but definitely one of the things we want to do, and I'm generalizing because there's a lot of detail in that, but we do want to become a tech stack for creators, what we believe are creators. So we want to start bringing some of those disruptive tools that we've been thinking and we've been planning for the past year and a half. Now, you as a user, when you come into Fanbase, you have certain expectations for certain things that you see in other platforms. So we definitely want to have some of those what we call catch-up functionalities, but a lot of the money, we want to start bringing these disruptive tech stacks tools that are going to help creators, including some of these branded experiences that I mentioned earlier. Okay. We're also going to be, I said that AI was part of the problem, but also a solution. The problem because it's driving a lot of people towards the industry that we are, which is great for us. But also the solution, we truly believe that AI can help us improve our algorithm that is content and creator centric, but also improve insights that we can give to you. Imagine if you come into the platform, you create content, and the platform can actually advise you or where you can make more money based on the type of content that you create, right? So definitely insights, it's something that we want to invest a lot, but more than anything, give it to the user, all right? We do want to bring also commerce into the environment as 100%. Well. Isaac, you mentioned that you are your own business, right?
Yeah.
And what better way of telling you that than allowing you to sell products, whatever you want to sell. So e-commerce is going to be a big increment that we're hoping to be able to apply with this money as well. As we continue to scale, we don't want to just hire engineers just because we think that's going to get things faster. I know you always, we kind of spoiled you a little bit because you said today Isaac said something about like, hey, I don't think this is working. And we just fixed it 1 hour later. Like, man, how do you guys do it? My point with all of this is that with the money, we're not just going to go out there and start hiring people just because more people means that we're doing things more efficiently. We want to scale the product through better architectures, automation, and also better infrastructure, right? So me as a CTO, I want to commit to being very responsible as we grow, how we grow the team, because it's not just a question of throwing people out there, right? And as we grow and we bring these increments, we also want to continue protecting our IP. We talked about the social migrator, and we have 11 other claims that are patent pending for us.
Right.
But all these disruptive tools that we want to bring, we want to make sure that we're protecting them too, because as you know, a lot of other social media industries, they stop innovating. They just copy what you do. And because these have this mass number of users, they can get to profit from it, right? So we want to be very smart about that. That's just from a technical standpoint. From obviously the product is going to help us grow a lot, but we also want to continue growing our partnership team. We want to be very conscious how we grow our relationships with our creators. We actually just brought someone on the creator relationship team that we're super excited about it. We can't announce it yet. We got to figure that one out.
We got to figure out how we're going to do that.
But we're definitely going to be bringing some great creator communities into Fanbase very soon. And we believe that those micro creators, we call it tier 1 and tier 2, can really help continue building the foundation of Fanbase. So that's another way how we're going to be using some of the money that we're getting with this race. Now,
challenges.
Let's talk about challenges. I want you to talk about the soft challenges, and then I'm going to talk about the hard challenges.
Okay. Well, what's a soft challenge? You tell me.
So you, as a Black founder, right? We've been going at this for a very long time.
Right.
And when we first met, you told me certain things. At the time, I was like, I believe it, but I didn't believe it because I didn't experience it. So talk a little bit about the challenges of you as a Black founder, and then we'll talk a little bit about the challenges of us as a company from the...
So, one of the challenges that I think in the beginning was just the way that when you are a Black in tech, especially in the social media space, but primarily when you're building a business, often they label your business as a business only for Black people, right? So I've done interviews with publications where I've clearly made it, understood that Fanbase is a platform that's in 170 plus countries and territories on iOS and Android. And the headline reads, Isaac Hayes III is building a platform for Black creators. That is not, actually say our beta for Fanbase was an anonymous beta, right? It was more like the fact that we built the platform. I didn't tell anybody that I built it. I didn't tell anybody it was Black owned. But even through that process, we got about 10,000 users without even ever advertising who owned the platform or whatever. Because of COVID, I had to step out there and find ways to that's just been a challenge as a Black founder is how do you be Black but not build a platform that the media and the press try to say is only for Black people.
Definitely, I like that. So obviously, it's inevitable for anyone that hears about Fanbase to compare us right away with the giants out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have those Meta, TikTok, right? So while that might seem like a challenge for itself, we're not worried about it because we consider ourselves. I always say we're a downstream platform. You always mention that you never ask people to leave their social media platforms. You tell them to leverage their audience to bring them to Fanbase where they can truly monetize. That's why I call Fanbase a downstream platform because you can still have a TikTok profile and a Meta profile and then come down, right? So I just wanted to mention that because I know you mentioned that, we're obviously trying to disrupt the other platforms, but we're not really, competing directly with them, and we actually will never stop, innovating.
Yeah, I think, like I said, Fanbase is a successor platform for one reason. Well, multiple reasons, but here's one main reason. There's no amount of innovation that Meta and Facebook and Instagram can do to capture the youth. And youth are always going to move to places where their parents are not and young people. So I always wanted to build something that was built for the future. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't want the people that are older on the platform, because this is another thing that I think about, and this is just an idea that I'm going to toss out in front of you right now that has to do with AI, but also finding a way that you can exist on your platform, or I can exist on Fanbase, and my 19-year-old brother can exist on Fanbase, and we never see each other, right? So he can have his community of friends that he engages with in audio rooms and in stories and live, and he's free to be himself without Big Brother watching, because my brother's Instagram page has no content on it. It's just a profile, and so he's not really using Instagram, and that's a telltale sign that he's not there. He's somewhere else. And so while we want to build a platform where, everybody can be themselves without limits, free to be themselves and communicate. So I know we can do that. And AI, I think, can play a part in being able to create that type of environment.
Yeah, definitely. So let me jump on some of what I call the hard side challenge.
Absolutely.
Right? So we obviously have 6 verticals.
Yeah.
Right? And, by having 6 verticals, the experience and the way the user uses those verticals also makes it that we have to have considerations for each vertical. Each content creation vertical is a world of its own, if you think about it, right? And that obviously brings thoughts, brings resources, time that we need to spend. So unlike other platforms out there, we don't have one vertical that we focus 100% all the time. We try to, through insights and so on, understand what's engaging, what's working, right? So that's a challenge for itself because, again, we're not focused on, like Clubhouse. They have audio and that's it, right? We have audio, but you can also create content. So what makes us great and different also present challenges, right?
100%.
And that's one of the things that we're always looking at, okay, what's working? And we're even thinking about in the future, and a lot of you have asked about this, how can you bring those worlds together, right? So they're not isolated verticals. One of the reasons why in Q3 we're going to be focusing on camps. Camps is groups of users that they have alike interests, right? How can we bring those worlds together, right? So there's going to be more interrelations between them. So while we have challenges, we have ways that we think we can start streamline a lot of the work that we do for the common goal. That's number one, right? We are growing. That's something super. Users from all over the world. The growth have non-stop, which is great. But with growth also comes challenges such as retention, right? Platforms are not made for everyone. Not It's very hard to make a platform that from day one you see it and you love, everyone loves you 100%, right? So we know that retention is something that we need to work on as a company. We have a lot of different things that we're doing about retention, and I'm bringing this because we've been having a lot of conversations with investors, and these questions sometimes came through, right? What happens with retention? So I want to bring some of the things that we're doing to improve this, and we're starting to see small improvements, and we think it's going to get better and better throughout the next quarters, right? So number one, I mentioned we're improving insights, right? And sometimes I'm trying to be generic, but I won't be generic today. I was talking to Andrew. Andrew's our senior insights advisor, and we say, sometimes you gotta say names so these people know how serious we are. So we're bringing, for those that are in the tech industry, we're actually partnering with Branch.io, and we're actually bringing a way to start having more traceability and having better insights for us and for our users too. That's going to help us incredibly to understand where the retention problems are happening and what can we do to address that. That's number one. Number two is this quarter, the product marketing team and the product team are all about feedback and understand why things work a certain way and why things don't work a certain way. For example, you're going to start seeing that, if you had Fanbase before and you decided to uninstall it, we want to know why you uninstalled it, why it didn't work for you, what made you leave Fanbase, right? Information sometimes is the most powerful tool to address those challenges, right? We're also starting to see growth on subscriptions, which is great. Yeah. But we're also seeing unsubscriptions too, and we want to know why people unsubscribe. Right. Was it the content? Was it the platform? Right. So we're gonna start creating these feedback loops for every single thing that affects churn and retention that we think is going to give us valuable information to understand how we can tackle and improve it. Again, are we going to be able to retain 100% of every user that comes into Fanbase? No, that's impossible, right? No platform. No, in fact, we were looking at, the social industry, the standard, what they think is a 2 to 5% retention, which we don't want to do the standard. We want to do better than the standards. The big, the giants, they are between 20 and 30%. So we want to get better and better. So obviously, as we find these challenges such as retention, we always are very quick at finding out, okay, what can we do? What can we do today? And being a small company allows us to do that. Be nimble and be able to make those kind of changes quickly. We always talk about that, like saying, hey, a lot of times when we see a challenge, we go through all these hoops to implement and to fix those challenges. We're at the point where we can react quickly. And, addressing the challenges starts with recognizing the challenges. And that's why I wanted us to talk about it, because we always talk about the good thing of Fanbase, but it's tough. Yeah, I mean, it's growing pains. Every platform has every platform is not for everybody in the beginning, but typically as we continue to grow, we'll get better at what we do. More people will actually learn about Fanbase and continue to use the platform. And I think that people are looking for. I think the world is starving for something different. I think that the world is actually really ready for something different when it comes by way of social media. They just feel like they don't have an option or a choice. They feel like they're stuck. And I treat that, I always refer to that somewhat as a relationship. It's like your relationship with Facebook or Instagram and TikTok. And it doesn't treat you well, but you still stay because you don't have anywhere else to go. And you're loyal. You spend a lot of time there. You make content. You build relationships. And so even though the situation is bad, I think that there has to be other options for people to be able to say, okay, great. We're going to be able to move here, monetize, be who we want to be,
create the content that we want to create, and it's just something new and fresh and a different perspective and a different spin on what social media is, and we're leading that conversation. I know we're leading that conversation because again, I keep seeing the little copies, the little things that platforms do. I mean, just off subscriptions alone. Just to be clear, and we're gonna say this: Fanbase was the first platform that allowed peer-to-peer in-app purchase subscription. So I understand that. So if you see subscriptions on Snapchat or TikTok or Instagram, where you can click a couple buttons and subscribe to some person and do that, they got that from Fanbase when we did that in 2019. So if you see that now, this small startup, out of all these companies that have had billions of dollars and the opportunity to provide monetization for years, to be able to allow you to have subscribers for years and they never did it, as soon as we did it, now they have to do it. So that lets me know, oh, all you guys got is money over us. We have the ideas. We ideate on ideas before you. You can never catch what we're trying to do. So that makes me very comfortable. I think it's really great that we're able to do that. And so I'm excited about, even like I said, raising this capital. The purpose behind like raising this capital is to move faster. Sometimes we have to compromise on what we want to build to bring you what you want. By raising the $17 million, we don't have to make those